Hey guys, Haz here, Chilled Canine. I'm going to do a responding to the comments video. Haven't done one of those in a while, so we're going to start at the top. Picking Malinois puppies for clients, part 2. This is the video that people are commenting on. First comment that I'm going to read. I'll take the third dog. Is he available? Well, there's available and then there's available. The reality is I keep back puppies from every litter because I don't want to sell them all, because I need to raise young dogs here and develop them for my training program later on. And if I sell them all, I'm not going to have any young dogs, and I'm going to be forced to buy green dogs from Europe, which I like to avoid doing if I can. So therefore, he is available, but he isn't cheap. So anything is for sale, but the question is, do you want to pay, right? They're all puppies. Any puppy that I keep from the litter is going to be a nice puppy, and you can talk me out of it, but you got to talk me out of it. Real Malinois man, I do need a good contact for green adults and puppies. I'm in northern Nevada. Again, if you've got some offers that make sense, we can surely come to an accord of some sort. Now, this comment was interesting. Haz, you're a very honest trainer. This is from Junior Torres. You're a very honest trainer. Love your videos. In my humble opinion as a trainer, these are lower working quality. This is a lower working quality litter that I have seen in your videos. They appear more for family homes. Can't wait to see your other litters. Amazing trainer, amazing person. Junior, I don't know if you've watched my other puppy testing videos. I don't have too many of them up. This is certainly an upper level performing video. I don't need to, I don't shoot these videos to sell those puppies. I shoot these videos to make entertaining and educational content. That's why I shoot the videos, right? So I don't care if nobody buys the puppies, and that's really not a problem for me. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to give it to you in all honesty. Those puppies are fantastic puppies. They're definitely already showing more drive than just about any other litter I have had. And that's the God honest truth. Now, knowing the parents and the grandparents and the great-grandparents of that litter, they are definitely not going to be lower working quality. And I've produced some really nice dogs that you guys all admire on my channel, and maybe some of you have met them in real life. From puppies that really didn't even look near as good as these puppies do. So in my humble opinion, this is definitely one of the better litters that I've ever produced. So maybe watch my other puppy testing videos again. You might get a different opinion. Here's the other thing. People don't realize this. These puppies, I trucked literally the day before the test. They got trucked from, a small house in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere in rural Ontario, where they were whelped and raised by the guy who owns the dam with me. They were put in a car, driven like 3 hours to my place. Okay, they were offloaded. They spent the night in a strange kennel. Then they were thrown in the back of my side-by-side, driven up to my kennel building, and then separated from one another. They've never been separated from each other, and walked into a strange building where there's dogs barking and random people and all sorts of crazy smells. There's different lighting and so on and so forth. Completely the first time in their entire life. Most human beings in that situation wouldn't be able to function, much less dogs. So yeah, considering all those things, they're doing quite well. I'm quite happy with them. Here's another one I'll address from Aliana. LOL, I should say. Wild dogs don't have that color, nor do hyenas, nor do wolves. Well, actually, wild dogs, aka dingoes, which are probably one of the few, I'm not talking about African wild dogs. Those are actually not, they don't share 100% the same DNA as your domestic dogs. That's a whole different kettle of fish, by the way. I know they're called wild dogs, but just so you know, they're not actually wild dogs. The dingo is basically a wild dog, and that's what I was referring to. Wolves, again, sorry. Hyenas, certainly not same species. So maybe do your homework on that one a little bit. Here's another comment that was interesting from Dog Breath. Would love to see a video of you talking in depth about dominant dogs, not just what truly dominant dog is, but dogs who show dominant behavior that may only be an 8 out of 10 on the dominant spectrum. I saw your video about handler aggression, and you talked about redirection and social dominant aggression. I really wish you could expand on the social aggressive dominant dog some more. To me, dominance is on a spectrum of, say, 1 to 10, 10 being a truly dominant dog, which we know is rare. I would like to hear more about these dogs that are on 7 to 9 scale of dominance and the type of behaviors you tend to see. Would really love to hear you ramble on about this subject in greater depth. Thank you for your knowledge you share. Wish you continued success. Well, thank you. Yes, that is actually a good topic for a video. I'm going to have to write that down and put that aside. Real quick on dominant dogs. I guess off the top of my head, the way that I would define dominance is a dog that's willing to use force to achieve satisfaction, whether that is related towards his, satisfying his hunger, satisfying his prey drive, satisfying his desire to possess resources, all these things. All dogs want things, but there are very few dogs that are willing to actually impose their will upon the people and other animals. Well, more with other animals, but less with the people that they share their lives with. And there's a reason for that. Of course, we've bred this trait for the most part out of dogs because it would be very difficult to live with dogs like this. However, you see this trait pop up a lot in certain breeds, specifically working breeds, because this trait is linked, this strength of character is also linked to other positive qualities that we look for in working dogs, like aggression, independence, hardness, so on and so forth. So you do tend to see it in those dogs. Now, most people, what they call dominance, it's like, yes, I wouldn't really term that dog as a truly dominant dog, but the dog still has learned in dealing with people that are inept, weak, uneducated, ignorant, so on and so forth, that they can get away with that type of behavior and achieve his or her goal. So I guess every dog to some degree probably has some level of dominance in some specific area, but there are some dogs that have just inordinate amounts of dominance. Like they're just extremely, like there's dogs that will literally chew you up over looking at them wrong or pulling them off a car tire that they want to pee on or just about anything that they want to do. So you have to understand it from that perspective. People don't believe me when I talk about these dogs. But when you've trained enough dogs, especially when you've dealt with a lot of working dogs, and then sometimes you see it in like the Mastiffs and the Pit Bull type dogs and stuff, you can see it in these dogs. You will see it. Like male Presa Canarios, you see this behavior a lot. The male Rottweilers, you tend to see this behavior if they're strong. They're strong-willed. But again, it's a good topic for a real in-depth video. I should do one. Thanks for the idea. Okay, this comment was on one of my e-collar training videos. How do you deal with a dog who performs well when the collar is on, but becomes disobedient without the collar? My border collie has been stubborn as a mule since the day I got him. He knows the commands perfectly well and will obey when he's wearing an e-collar when he's a bit bored, but when he can get away without obeying, he will. Well, yes, because your e-collar is clearly what does the training. And, when you train in my system, you learn real quick. And I make it really clear to people. Now, not everybody gets it, but I make it real clear to people. The e-collar is an extension of you. It amplifies you as a trainer. If your only game is the e-collar, then that is all you will ever have. My only game is not the e-collar. That's why I can take the e-collar off my dog and I'll still have a completely obedient dog, right? Because my only game is not the e-collar. The e-collar is simply an amplifier of me. So when you train with the e-collar like it's a crutch instead of an amplifier, then that's the result you get. My suggestion, get with a trainer that knows what they're doing, or, take one of my online courses. My Elite Off-Leash Obedience course may shed some light on how to deal with collar-wise dogs, as well as, maybe what you're doing wrong, what you need to change as a handler. Here's a good one on the different types of German Shepherd video. All right, Michelle Turner. Not everyone needs a high drive biting GSD. Family dogs, I guess she's trying to say, need to be much calmer and softer. I think there are way too many working dogs sold to pet homes and it's not cool. I see it all the time. Disagree. I'm a professional trainer and I train thousands of dogs, and probably the most common dog that I train is the German Shepherd because a lot of people have them, and when a lot of people think dog training for my German Shepherd, they think Shield Canine. Maybe it's my logo, maybe it's our rep, I don't know. Either way, I see a lot of German Shepherds. Most of them are pet line dogs of no particular breeding. The next most common dogs that we see are show lines or show line crosses. And then the final dog that we see is working line. Now, most of the working lines that are brought to us are not particularly good. They're bred by people with your mindset, unfortunately, Michelle, that think, we like the working line colors and the appearance and the reputation, but we don't want all that drive. So what do? They breed soft, weak, low drive dogs to one another, and they end up with nervy puddles of goo wearing, sable coats, basically. Breeding down to suit the masses is never the solution. In every one of my litters I have dogs that are in the medium and lower range. I don't care who I'm breeding together, how extreme they are. And almost every litter I have, at least half the litter will do well in a family situation. And the other half, with the exception of maybe a couple dogs here and there, do well in a family situation with good training. Okay, so and that's me selling. I'm most of the way through the alphabets on my German Shepherd breedings. I breed working line dogs, and I use quite strong dogs, quite high drive dogs in my breeding program. Otherwise, I have no interest in really breeding them because I'm looking to create working dogs for me. But the byproduct of that breeding is the vast majority are dogs that can live in a family situation. Because what does a family dog need to have? Stability. Okay, that's the most important thing. People that complain about drive and biting machines, these are people that don't understand dogs. They don't understand training. If you can't handle a little bit of drive, if you can't handle a little bit of character, you probably shouldn't have a German Shepherd. Maybe a Chihuahua, maybe something else. If you buy a German Shepherd, you should accept that they have a working character. And it's not an insane kind of unbearable thing. It's just a normal working character, okay, that requires a little bit of training and a little bit of structure. And if you're not willing to put that level of work in, German Shepherds aren't for you. Here's another comment I think is interesting. Separating puppies early. This is my separating puppies early video. If you didn't watch it, guys, check it out. I really debunk one of the common myths out there when it comes to dogs. Okay, this was by Jessica Martirano. I think it's dangerous to advocate for this. I actually didn't advocate for it, Jessica. The negative ripple effect of people thinking they can sell pups faster, to breed mom quicker under the guise that it's to make them more social, to imprint them on humans. That's proved catastrophic for the avian industry. Well, Jessica, unfortunately, dogs are not birds, and it doesn't matter how early you separate puppies from mom, she's not going to be ready to breed again any faster than she already would have been. Females go into heat average about every 7 months, regardless of when you separate the puppy. Some bitches go a little sooner, some bitches go a little later. If you move a bitch from point A to point B, usually she'll miss a heat. There's all sorts of things that can impact the regularity of a dog's heat. Separating puppies sooner rather than later certainly doesn't. I just had a bitch go into heat again at the 6-month mark, and her puppy stayed with her until they were 7 weeks old. So, and I also didn't advocate for it. I simply said that it's a myth and it doesn't make any sense to continue to perpetuate something that's incorrect. And I don't believe in, I don't treat people like they're children. This idea that, we can't say this because people are going to do that and this and everything else. Like, the argument against when I talk to people, when I say that neutering is nonsense and generally completely unnecessary, doesn't impact the behavior of the dog, and does probably more harm than it ever does any good. People, you can't say that because so-and-so might be irresponsible and do this. I don't operate in that type of world. That's the type of world where that's the whole, I'm a parent and people are so stupid and they need me to be their daddy or their mommy. That's extremely condescending. And I didn't get a successful channel by treating people like they can't handle the truth. My channel, in fact, thrives on truth. We say it the way it is, whether people like it or not, including, stuff like this, separating puppies early. Let's continue. It has detrimental lifelong physical impact. Well, it doesn't with dogs. Birds are still wild animals, while dogs are domesticated, but the question remains, does it impact dogs? Well, I think birds are pretty domesticated too now, the ones that you're dealing with. You seem pretty young. Have you followed all the puppies you bred until present date or their death and really kept track of any possible issues? Jessica, I'm old enough. Okay, I've lived a rich life. Now, maybe you're in your 70s, and compared to you, I'm pretty young. But I'm going to tell you, I'm not the only one that says separating puppies early doesn't impact them socially. I also have this wonderful thing called common sense. Okay. I know dog behavior in and out. It's kind of my line of work. So when I see a puppy that's more social than 99% of the other puppies in the same litter, and I know the behavioral trajectory of dogs because it's kind of my business, right? And I do follow the puppies, by the way. There's this weird perception that it's like the behavior of the dog just falls. Like he's social, and then all of a sudden when he hits like 6 years old, he goes crazy and he's not social anymore. Now that's certainly possible if there's like neurological damage to the dog. But other than that, their behavior doesn't change. If the dog is social, and at 2-3 years old, he's going to continue to be social, right? Now, of course, can some catastrophic event occur that would change the sociability level of the dog? Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I've certainly met dogs that have had numerous catastrophic events, like their owner's dumb and keeps getting them attacked, and they're still social, right? So, and generally every single puppy, especially in the working breeds, they start more social than they end up being. But I've certainly seen it the other way, where they're actually less social and they become more social as they age. So either way, listen, dog behavioral, the behavioral trajectory of dogs is something that's kind of my line of work. It's kind of, why I have the success that I have. So don't worry about my age. I'm old enough to be a daddy. But they never learned how to be a bird. Okay. Jessica, these are dogs, okay? I've had puppies where I've left them in the litter until they're like 12 to 16 weeks. They weren't any more dogs than the puppies separated at, a couple weeks. Would it truly produce a well-rounded dog? Yes, because a well-rounded dog, number one, this idea that they need to learn to be, like, a well-rounded dog doesn't need, like, as you know, if you follow my training, we don't advocate your dogs going and playing at the dog park. That's not well-rounded. That's not good or productive from any kind of training standpoint. I will say these puppies that I was speaking about that were separated early were extremely social, because guess what? They weren't just around humans. They were around other dogs too. There's this weird idea that the dogs will have like this deep like communication with each other, and they're going to teach each other how to be dogs. It's nonsense. Right? Like I've seen, so most aggressive dogs, okay, most dogs that are dog aggressive, or have issues with other dogs, were not separated early. And that's a fact. All right, guys, this last one's going to be a positive one. I have 2 large dogs with severe reactivity. I've followed many other videos, trainers, a few from YouTube, and techniques with commitment, but never have had the permanent results until a program like this. I actually learned some of this from another trainer, but this video captures it much better. And I'm planning to work with Shield in some way going forward. I will say I think the other videos by Shield on foundational ideas make this more effective. I struggled with committing to a prong collar and some of the negative corrections emotionally, having had some experience in particular bad experience. This is by D. Johnson on my How to Stop Leash Pulling video. I can't believe that video is free, guys. It really shouldn't be free. I don't know. I'm not just joking for the camera. I've actually thought about taking that video down. It's the value on there is insane if you know how to take it. Now, a lot of people just kind of, another leash pulling video. Every trainer's got one. Yeah, every trainer's got one. And most of them aren't going to get you very far. This video, if you watch it and you've got a dog that pulls you around in half an hour, if you follow my video the way I tell you to do it, your dog will no longer pull you. And for those of you wondering, yes, you can use a pinch collar. You can use a choke chain. It's basically just got to be something that can deliver an aversive consequence when you give the leash a pop. And I get into the why for that. I don't just tell you to do it. I tell you why we do it. And that's the other thing. It's not monkey see, monkey do. It's here's why. Here's the scientific reason why you do this, right? And then I can explain to you why leash pulling, people don't get this. Leash pulling is the magic. It's the secret. It's the secret to behavior, right? And again, I'm saying this for free on YouTube, guys. And I don't know how many of you are still listening. Leash pulling is so much more than an inconvenience. Your dog leash pulling is the beginning of numerous behavioral issues. And you don't want to know how many behavioral issues I resolve simply by removing the pulling. It completely changes the dog mentally when you do it properly. Most people don't. They kind of half-ass it, and it's a little bit better, and they're not being dragged around anymore, so they think, oh, okay, I fixed the problem. But they don't really do it properly, and they don't really get all the benefits from it. I've done this with thousands of dogs, but, well, I shouldn't say thousands. I've done it and seen it done by my team and supervised it and instructed it probably with 1,000 dogs by now. And it's remarkable the change it has on a dog when it's done and followed through with properly. I got to do maybe another video on really getting into the magic of removing the pulling on the leash. But you want to know how many problems? I'll tell you this. When I have clients that have, they either bought a dog from me or they were training with us like a year, 2, 3 years ago. Oh, hey, things were going great. Now it's not good anymore. He's doing this. It's still good, but he's still he's starting to go back. He's starting to fall apart a little bit. Bring him back, and I watch them in the parking lot. The first thing that's happening, I almost without a fail. The dog comes out of the car and he pulls them, and he continues to pull them. Sometimes it's just off and on, and sometimes it's just literally the dog's tractor pulling them again. And I confront them. Why is your dog pulling you? Oh, well, we correct them sometimes that, it's our fault, or they'll just be like, well, we push the button, or we do the pop thing and it doesn't work. And then I fix the leash pulling again. And it usually takes me no more than like 3 minutes to fix that leash pulling. And all those behavioral problems are gone again. Now, we could get into the how and the why, but that's not really the purpose of this video. I just gave out some free dog training information here. Okay. Here, one more. I will answer this. If a owner trained their own protection dog, will they bite someone else? No, Larissa. Don't train your own protection dog. Even as a professional trainer, I do some work with my own dogs, because I'm a professional and I know what I'm doing, but there are some things I don't do, including civil type work. Since you're training your own protection dog, will he still bite a burglar on your command? He would, but not because of this training. All right, guys, thank you for watching. It's always fun kind of sometimes going through the comments and talking a little bit. Oh, you know what? I have. Training Boss to bite for real. Boss is a dog from our kennel. This person asked, is this a black East European Shepherd? No, it's not. And thank God. If he was, he wouldn't be able to do the stuff that you're seeing him do in the video. All right, guys, you have a good night, and thank you for watching.